Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking all about bilingualism. Specifically, we're going to get into what exactly it is, what it means to be bilingual, and how it's different from multilingualism, and how you can decide which language might be the right language for you, and of course, some of the benefits of becoming bilingual. But first, if you are new here, my name is Sarah and I teach how to learn any language. Alright, so what is bilingualism? Well, it's basically being able to speak two languages, but there's quite a bit of a gray area here as far as what does it mean to be able to speak two languages? Can you read and write in those languages as well? If you can only speak, are you still considered bilingual? Well, basically, yeah, you are. If you think of bilingualism as like a spectrum, and there's monolingual and bilingual, or of course, more languages if you add on and you become multilingual, but we're gonna focus just on bilingualism. And on this bilingualism spectrum, you have a monolingual person, and then as you start to learn a second language, you're becoming bilingual. And there really is not a defined point at which you become bilingual other than just when you finally feel like you're comfortable expressing yourself in another language. So let's say that you speak another language and maybe you're a heritage speaker, so your family maybe speaks this language and you speak it as well at home, but you don't really use it in academics or in professional life, and you don't have the reading and writing aspect of it. So if you are a heritage speaker, you're of course considered bilingual because you have those two languages, but you maybe don't have the reading and writing aspect. So you fall somewhere on this spectrum of bilingualism, but there's always room for improvement. So that's why it doesn't really ever end. There's no final point where you get to where you say, oh, now I'm completely bilingual. No, it doesn't work that way. Because think of it as like your native language, right? My native language is English, and yes, I speak English very well, but I do not by any means speak it perfectly. And I'm still improving my English. Like, I still consider myself an English learner, even though I'm a native English speaker. So, and that might sound a little strange to some of you guys, like, hey, you're a native speaker, how are you an English learner? Well, I don't know all of the vocabulary in the English language. I don't know all of the structures of all the sentences of everything. There's always more. I don't know, specific jargon in a specific field. I don't have that, like if it's legal or medical or whatever it is. So there is just always more to learn. And that's why you're never going to be 100% fluent or 100% bilingual, is because there is no 100%. Like, there's just always going to be something more. So I really want you to just kind of let that sink in, because you understand that, okay, I'm not going to reach a definite point. Language learning is not finite, because there is just always another way to develop. But there is a certain amount that you can develop where you can say, okay, like, I'm comfortable calling myself bilingual now. Like, for me, I'm pretty comfortable calling myself bilingual in English and Spanish because I am confident with my ability to communicate in Spanish and in English. So I would consider myself bilingual there. But just know that it's progress and it happens over time. And that is the process of becoming bilingual. You're always going to fall somewhere on that spectrum of becoming bilingual. So what are some of the benefits of becoming bilingual? There's all of the ones, you've probably heard of, like you can travel, you can talk to more people, you can experience other cultures, right? If you can, get out and use the language, then those definitely are benefits. But there's also a mental benefit of when you learn another language, and as someone who started out monolingual and became bilingual, I can say that it is different. Your mind, at least my mind, works differently as a bilingual person instead of a monolingual person. And it's really not something that you can experience unless you become bilingual. And if you already speak multiple languages, then you have that multiple language perspective or that bilingual perspective, but you maybe don't have the monolingual perspective. And really what it comes down to is that you learn how to learn language when you become bilingual. So you learn not just the second language, like for me, I learned Spanish, but I really didn't just learn Spanish, because when you first learn another language, which is why, so many Americans here, they really just speak English because there's no, it's not necessary to have another language. It's so difficult to learn that second language because you also have to learn language. You have to learn how to learn language. So what I mean by that is you're not just learning vocabulary and grammar, you're learning the structure of language itself. You're learning what are direct and indirect object pronouns, how are these sentences formed, how are verbs conjugated, because until I started learning Spanish, I had no idea that verbs were conjugated. Like, I didn't know, because when you learn a native language, you just start speaking and you just learn it. You don't learn it through conjugations. So all of these aspects of language, all of this linguistics that you learn, this is how to learn a language, and it's what composes a language. So that's why once you learn how to learn a language, you can learn any language there is out there, regardless of what kind of orthography it uses or what dialect or anything. Once you know how language is structured, how there's a writing system and there's a speaking system and listening components and all of that, and you understand how to go through the process of building up vocabulary and grammar, studying the structures, and then practicing and developing your language to fluency, you can apply it to absolutely any language, and you can become bilingual or trilingual or multilingual, whatever it is in those languages. So the benefits of becoming bilingual, there are so many, but my favorite is just how it makes my mind feel. Like, I just feel like I can understand so many things that I couldn't before I became bilingual. And my ability to understand language and to understand other people has just transformed so much since I've learned Spanish, and then since I've started learning my third language, French, and that is my favorite benefit of learning another language. And our last point in this video is how to choose a language, right? So I know this question has come up quite a bit, and people want to know, like, how do I know which language to focus on, or should I learn multiple languages? And this really is a very large topic, so we're just gonna briefly cover just the basics. And basically, how to choose a language is gonna depend on what you need the language for, right? So like for me, I chose Spanish because I live in Southern California, so Spanish is everywhere. And yeah, so Spanish was the perfect language for me to learn here, and then also because of my Spanish ancestry. So I have Spanish speaking relatives, and I have Spanish in my history and in my bloodlines. So Spanish is very close to me, and that's why I chose Spanish. Now, for you, depending on where you live and what your goals are, both professionally and academically and personally, whatever your goals are, that's going to determine which language you learn. And really, I would say just focus on that first language. And once you get one language down, then as I mentioned, once you learn how to learn language, you can learn any of them. So I would choose the one that you're going to see the most return on right away. Whatever it is that your goal is with that language, to be able to speak with people, use it in work, whatever it is, choose the language that is going to be most productive for you in achieving that goal. And just start with that, get really good at it, get confident with it, and then you can start expanding if you want, or just focus on getting really good at that one language. Alright, so that is it for becoming bilingual. I hope that you guys now have a broadened perspective of exactly what bilingualism is and how you can get there, and just understand that it is a process, and as long as you're making progress, you are getting there and you are in the process of becoming bilingual. I will see you guys next time. Bye.